Go.
So, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the River Sweep podcast. Unfortunately, I think our streak is going to end because Virat Kohli is making his return in the second test match, and as I predicted, that I have a feeling that he's going to score a century. Like, it's just the gut feeling that he's going to score a century. So let's see if we can keep our streak alive, or will Virat reach first there. So that is secondary. There's a little bit time for the Mumbai test, but what happened in the past 5 days in Kanpur, yet another exciting test match. That is the reason why test cricket is the best format of the cricket. 5 days of super competitive match battles between the two of the best test side of the last cycle. So today we have Pranav, and also we have our special analyst all the way from Hyderabad who we have hired to do the analysis for how to spin the ball, how Akshar Patel spins the ball, and how uh, who's your favorite? Ashwin spins the ball. So I think uh, Pranav is just having some issue, but yeah. So let's begin. 5 days of matches. I think India could have and should have won the test match because
Yeah, man.
a team like New Zealand coming to India and drawing a test match is a win for them, and it's a loss for us, I believe.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
my
I
thinking.
agree. Yes.
because because to lose in India against a side which is not that great, I believe, when you look at that side, apart from their bowling lineup, they didn't have any quality spinners. None of their batsmen were in form, and also their main batsman, we were able to contain him in both the innings, and still we couldn't get past them. So let's quickly jump into some of the key factors into the game which happened. So let's start with Pranav, and let's take his thought on how do you think the first game of Rahul Dravid era started. Do you think India were little scared in the fourth innings? How did it look like? Did we miss that aggression from Kohli and Ravi Shastri? Did you feel that?
Well, I mean, we're always smarter after the incident, but yeah, it was a really frustrating Monday of cricket for Indian fans. I mean, honestly, it was a good test match if you look at it from a neutral standpoint because it went right till the last ball. And, you have to give, first of all, credit to New Zealand because I didn't give them a chance to survive more than two sessions because I thought the wicket was going to really crumble given yesterday. India were 51 for 5 and there was already some demons in the pitch. But I don't know. Today, I thought, okay, maybe after the first hour, the effect of the heavy roller, the pitch will start playing tricks. But the pitch was like effectively like a day one or a day two pitch today. And yesterday it seemed harder to bat. So that was a little bit puzzling as to why the ball, I know it got slower, but there was barely any turn. And I mean, after Jadeja got those shooters through, I mean, India should have really won this game. And I mean, everyone's going to have their opinion on the declaration. And as everyone has probably already got to know that I was not a big fan of how late we declared. I think that, yeah, Rahul and Rahane took a safe approach, which again has been known in Indian cricket. And, you wanted to perhaps ensure that New Zealand are almost out of the game. But I guess, like I said, above 200, India were always favorites to win. And once we crossed 250 on this pitch, it was very
Yeah,
difficult to
and
score it,
there's
3 and over.
there's an interesting stat. I believe the last visiting team who chased down a fourth innings target in India was West Indies way back in 1990s or something, and they chased around
Yeah, in
276.
1987, yeah, this 276 was chased by
276.
Viv
So
Richards with 109.
it's been
So
around 25 years, and none of the visiting sides
24
have
years almost.
almost. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So it's been crazy that because when you look at those stats, you can counter attack by saying even at the Gaba that we couldn't chase, but then India went there and chased down the target. But that is a different thing. But a record of 35 years, and with the batting lineup that New Zealand had, it made no sense to me that they just delayed the declaration. Even if they wanted a safer target, I think we'll come back to that. But before that, keeping aside the declaration part and how we bottled the test match, I believe I would say which we should have won. Unknown player like Somar. whatever his name is,
Somerville.
whatever. So that guy comes in randomly and plays out 80 balls against a quality spin attack. That is pretty shambolic on how we um, allowed that to happen. Like even on the worst case, you cannot do that, and that too in the fifth day when the pitch is turning, you have good spinners. But I think to their credit, they played really well, which I didn't expect. So let's jump on Ishwar. Like let's have some deep technical analysis on what went wrong, on what mistakes did our spin bowling did that allowed them to play. Like first session was wicketless. Latham and that guy who
Somerville.
played out
Somerville.
play. I don't even know his name. So yeah. So he played out around one complete session. So Ishwar, what are your thoughts on what went wrong in that first session today?
See, first of all, what I would think was like, as people are suggesting, the pitch isn't so flat. I mean, the pitch was flat. I don't think it was a proper day five wicket, which we usually get in India. So blaming our Indian spinners for not delivering on that would be a bit harsh, I feel, because they've really tried everything they had in them. They have picked up 9 out of 10 wickets in the first innings as well, and have almost got us home. Even if there was just a little bit of spin towards the fag end of day five, and that's when we've looked the most threatening. So I don't think like we've done anything bad on the in terms of our bowling. And coming to batting wise, yeah, New Zealand is a weak team in subcontinent. Everyone knows that it's not their strength playing spin or whatever. But what we have to observe here is we are also not at a full strength, right, with batting, and we have Pujara and Rahane there too. So
Two
then,
But
like
passengers in the team.
that's the that's where we have
but
given New
that
Zealand.
is a different topic. I think even if you put some India B11 in India with the
Yeah,
bowling
India
attack
was
we
the
have,
stronger team still considerably,
yeah,
I
with
would
the
say,
bowling
despite all
bowling we
this.
have, I think that should not be excused because we have been bloating about our squad depth. Like even if our key players are
But then
missing, because we have to prepare the life after Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma in the batting lineup. That is because they have 2 or 3 more years, but after that you need that young players to get exposure. But I don't think so. Blaming on our batsmen, because I think batsmen did their job on what was expected. You might argue that we might be little short, but
no, but
but
the thing is, no, see, but the thing is, see, one thing where we went wrong was we should have declared at 250, as you guys already mentioned. So that aside, I actually think that this New Zealand side has very good players of spin. If you see Tom Latham, this is not the first time he has done it. He has a very good record in subcontinent, and there's Kane Williamson. Other than like,
And Will
and there's
Young
one
was
more guy,
very
Henry
impressive
Nichols.
too against
Yeah,
spin.
exactly. And there's Henry Nichols, and then there was Rachin Ravindra, who's an opening batsman actually playing at number 7. So I don't think New Zealand is that
but
weak.
the
I mean, yeah,
most funny part was two the two people who saved the test match for New Zealand
were
have their
Indian,
origin from India,
India.
India.
and
Yeah.
them saving the
Yes.
test match becomes much more
Yes. And the
hurting.
number 11 is returning to his birth city in the next test. So, wow, I mean, it is like,
They've played 52 balls. So I don't think, see, our bowlers were on the mark. So no one would expect, like, number 11 would survive against, Ashwin and Jadeja and Akshar on that wicket. And also there was a master class by not bowling Ashwin in the last over against Ajaz. So let's
I
not.
have a slightly different take on this. And I think, contrary to what helped both Akshar and Jadeja, I always feel for a finger spinner, if they want to get a leg before of the same kind of batsman, they should always go around the wicket. I felt Jadeja and Akshar did not use that option against the lefties enough. Jadeja bowled just one ball in the last over around the wicket. I mean, I know the rough was there outside the left-handers off stump, but given how easily they were negating it, I think that should have been tried a little bit more, because if you see all the shooters that Jadeja got, be it of Kane Williamson, Ross Taylor, be it Jamieson or Saudi, it all came from him bowling around the wicket on that particular spot. If he had perhaps given little more opportunities around the wicket, maybe one of those balls would have scooted, and even he would have gotten that one wicket. I just feel that sometimes when a wicket is not really helping you as much as you think, doing something slightly different could have been useful. I mean, Ashwin is different. He turns the ball and gets enough bounce, so it's not maybe as big a deal. But someone like Jadeja and Akshar, who don't really turn the ball, their strength is bowling fast and bowling accurately, something like this could have been tried. And I think Akshar Patel today did not bowl as well, and I think he was not bold enough. That is the problem. I feel like first session you all were saying.
Yeah, coming to that point, you
We'll
made a
come to
good
that point.
point.
Sorry,
Yeah.
we'll otherwise we'll.
See, you mentioned it correctly, and I was getting to that point as well. Like, so I've seen Rahane captain in Australia, and I've seen Rahane captaining the side today. Like, I see a vast difference in how he did. Like, I think he did everything brilliantly during the Australia series when Virat was not there with the attacking options or the bowling changes. But there might be argument that we had two world class pacers that time, maybe three, you if you count Bumrah,
An
Shami,
aggressive coach.
and you had aggressive coach. But some down somewhere down down, I feel that Rahane was little bit too looked out of pace in his captaincy. Like, I thought he was not very attacking. Like, when you had the runs, like even in the last half an hour, 45 minutes, he had Ishan Sharma in short fine leg when he could have just asked him to come closer and just surround the batsman to build the pressure. Because once you build that pressure, if you see a lot of players around you, that pressure builds, and you might do something wrong in that pressure. You might just nick it, or even if that catcher is not, like, just attack the field, because there was no use of saving runs. They cannot make 120 in like 10 overs when Azaz and all were there. So I thought he was very defensive from the start of the innings as well, like not having a proper attacking field. I think first with the declaration he was scared. I think with the bowling changes he was not that great. I believe we didn't rotate our bowlers very well. Like, if you see the number of overs bowled, like Ashwin had way more overs than others. But I don't see, like, I didn't think that the bowling changes were on point. So let's come to Ishwar and ask, do you think that Ashwin was good enough in the first innings, or how was Ashwin's contribution, and does he cement a place in all-time greats? As we now know, he has passed even Harbhajan Singh, and I think only two players are above him in the list currently, if I'm not wrong. Anil Kumble and someone, I forgot the name.
Kapil
But
Dev, Kapil Dev.
Kapil Dev. So do you think Ashwin is amongst all-time greatest red ball spinner that has played the game for Indian cricket team, and how do you think he did in this particular game?
Oh yes, definitely. R. Ashwin is one of the best off spinners to ever play the game. Forget just for Indian cricket team. Just like he's the best, one of the best off spinners to ever play the game of cricket. He's just only second to Muthiah Muralidharan after 80 tests, like which we've already seen. So I don't think there's like any doubt about if he's one of the greatest or not. The only thing is we need to trust him overseas as well. That is like, with his batting coming leaps and bounds, I think he's going to be a very good option overseas as well. Like, yeah, I know we have Jaddu, I know we have Akshar, who offer that left arm variety, but you cannot buy experience anywhere. So if you could play Ashwin overseas also, I think he would start delivering like the way you expect him to.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
I
what I
think,
think.
and I think, to be fair on Ashwin, he has done pretty well in England, pretty well in Australia, and he has looked like our
Exactly.
wicket taker. Like, people have told in the past that Ashwin can only play is a home ground bully and all, but last two overseas and maybe before that also a little bit, it shows that Ashwin has that class about him, and he's a very intelligent cricketer. Even if the things are not going for him, from somewhere he will do something else, and he will think about how he can get the batsman out. Like, he's a very intelligent cricketer, which I think a lot of people in our cricket team does not have his intelligence, like which Ashwin has.
Yeah, they don't have his. He doesn't. The way Ashwin, if you hear him talk, amidst all the arrogance and whatever, he's a really thinking cricketer. Like even when it came to
Yeah, but
DRS,
what I hate about is he's our competitor in the podcast. So I wish that he doesn't overtake us someday.
Right, right. So I think, yeah, Ashwin, he's a great cricketing mind, and even before even India were the last team not to take DRS, he made such a good point that about umpire's call, that how on earth, if I'm standing at mid off, can I tell the bowler or the umpire bowler that, low, let's not go for a review because it might be umpire's call. So he really thinks deeply about the game. Coming back to the Rahane's captaincy, I mean, I don't know what to say. I think he captained the way he's been batting. I mean, in both innings, not very impressed with his captaincy. And he is actually captaining the way we criticize Virat Kohli for being over defensive. I mean, to Will Somerville, why the hell do you need a sweeper on the backward point boundary? The guy literally hit just 1-4 there when Umesh Yadav bowled him a long hop. Apart from that, he was not even scoring in any of those areas. And you were giving easy singles away to the night watchman and to the opener. And at no stage did it look like they were getting out in that first session. And what was even more frustrating is that Umesh Yadav came on and started leaking runs when he's actually considered an India specialist. Ishan Sharma looked clearly rusty. He was not, at no time in the game did he look like he could even trouble the batsman.
Was Ishan Sharma even playing? Like I don't even
Exactly.
No, I
So
mean,
Pacers at one time were going at 4 and over, and that
and I think we were
excessive.
playing with 1, 2, 3
Yeah,
down, 8 man. Like if
yeah.
because
yeah,
Rane, Pujara
Rana,
and Ishan
Pujara,
and
this
Ishan had like absolutely
right.
zero contribution in the match.
So this is the
So
problem. I feel we
technically,
should have had either Ashwin and Jadeja starting or Ashwin and Akshar starting, and you should have used spin right at the start. And I'm pretty sure if that would have happened, we would have won the game. I mean, I know we're going to micro dissect everything and say the new ball also was taken late and whatnot, but the main thing was the first session really took a lot of energy out of India. And Umesh Yadav bowls a bouncer from round the wicket first ball after lunch. Why on earth did he not try that initially? I mean, tailenders, no matter, even though Will Somerville is a very tall guy, they don't like that kind of bowling. And I don't know, Rahane, a guy whom we used to praise for his captaincy in the few games he captained, I just could not understand what he was thinking. And
I
even
think it was
Sunil
just one
Gavaskar.
bad game, man. I think it was just
No, no,
one
but
bad game.
I mean, maybe, but even in towards the end, when India were the only team who could win, we still, like you were saying, we had somebody at fine leg, somebody at some,
Mid off, mid
easy
off, mid
singles
off.
were given. Yeah, and easy singles were being given to even Ajaz Patel, whereas you should have literally, like how you have body line, kept as many catches as possible. And there, and like Rachin Ravindra, he flicked a ball for four. If we had another leg slip or something, that would have been game, set, and match. So I don't know. I mean, very strange approach. I mean, of course, we should give, like I said, give credit to New Zealand where due, but India really seem, New Zealand has become really a bogey team for India in ICC events. The moment it becomes an ICC event, even at home, we are finding it difficult to dislodge them. So this is really, I really hope we don't somehow lose the last. And I don't think we will, because I think we've shown we're the superior side, but you never know. The Mumbai pitch will be having some carry, and there's always some swing at Mumbai because of the sea. So Saudi and Jamieson will be licking their lips, and Wagner probably as well.
But where
yeah.
would you get Wagner in place of, like, Rachin Ravindra actually had contributed, right? So
Well,
who
he
would you
might be
drop?
having to face the axe because Jamieson can certainly bat at number seven if needed. He's not a number eight. And otherwise, it would drop Somerville. And do you think a night watchman performance warrants? I mean, one of them will probably sit out because seeing how their seamers bowled, I really think I'm thinking, given the rain is forecast before the test, you might see a red soil turner which lasts maybe just 3 days. Who knows? I mean,
But that apart, I think apart we have been too much patiently giving chances to Pujara and Rahane. Like since
absolutely.
last couple of years, like people might tell that he did well in Australia, which I think he did pretty good, but not.
Can I give some stats,
But
please?
yeah, you can. But let me just think
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
like what is the role of Pujara and Rahane currently in the team? They don't score run. They don't even score quickly. Like somewhere in India, you don't need to like just see out the balls. Pujara had some 40 strike rate or 30 strike rate, and that was like completely
That's high
completely
for him.
underwhelming. Like I think it's time that we start looking for a replacement. And when I'm talking about replacement, like I was really excited for Shreyas Iyer to make his test debut, because he's someone um, who plays typical cricket shots, and I've seen him in his first class career as well, and whatever he has done. So he's a pretty good cricketer, and he can be developed into a pretty good test cricketer, is what I feel like. And ODI, not I won't say that much for T20, because I don't rate him that much in T20s, but I think he's more suited to the longer format of the game, because he's someone who has been playing classy shots, and he who looks pretty good on those as well. So, and I think he was pretty impressive in both the innings, scoring a century and then scoring a half century when all our batsmen look below par. So I think in a year we have kind of found a player who can play for another 10-12 years, because he is still young, if you say. And with the performances Rahane have been giving,
But
I think
then,
Yeah,
I
but
I
think
then
think
Iyer dances, right? But then Iyer has a dance versus short
yeah,
ball.
but Ishwar, every player struggles when they
Rohit Sharma
first.
was also struggling,
Yeah,
but then he
yeah.
changed his game.
Look,
So do
guys,
you
I
think
mean,
Iyer might
Yeah,
be a
see,
perfect replacement for Rahane, looking at the longer term of Indian cricket test team?
yeah. So I'm very happy for Shreyas Iyer because his first class record,
Mumbai
though he
guy.
has not, yeah, Mumbai guy. But anyway, that's not the point. He has had a very good record for a long time in first class cricket. So Test cricket is not something that should is alien to him. I guess in the first innings, little bit he was playing few shots, but I guess that's sometimes the impact of so much of one day cricket. But his game is built for Test cricket. If you see, his technique is really good in most ways, except yeah, the short ball weakness is there. He wants to get on the front foot and dominate. But I'm sure, see, when you go there and you face quick bowlers only, you will learn. And I'm willing to give the likes of him and maybe Surya Kumar a chance to even fail for 10 tests, because Pujara and Rahane are just well over the hill. I mean, since 2020, the three worst batting averages are in the Indian team. Rahane first, Pujara second, Kohli third, and there are three, four, five. I mean, that's alarming. And Rahane averages 32 in his last 50 test matches. I mean,
but
this
but
is an
after
I
but
mean, this is an
that's the
incredibly long rope.
but after hearing that stat, it's a shock. It's shocking to see that we have been the best test match side, even though we didn't win the World Test Championship. But even though our number one, number three, number four, number five have the worst average, and still we somehow won in Australia, leading in England, and fairly did well in the last cycle of World Test Championship. But that shows you how good our bowling lineup was and how
Exactly.
crucial they were to win us those games. You can make a point of one or two odd innings from Pant or someone, but I think what has stood out is our bowling attack. But it's quite shocking to see those numbers and then think that India are were the top side in the last cycle of the league phase of World Test Championship. So, but the point comes, if we ask Pujara, do we move Kohli to number three and then
That
get
would
in
be
Iyer and
I
Sky or
don't
maybe
think.
someone?
See,
that
first
would be
of all, no, no,
suicidal.
no. There's one thing here. I don't think Pujara is going to get dropped. I think it's going to be Rahane. Pujara will get one more series in my opinion. And even if we drop Pujara, I think it should be Shubman Gill at number 3 and Mayank Agarwal at 2. We should not tinker with Virat Kohli's batting
Mayank
position.
Agarwal himself looks out of sorts, so I think Rohit
But
and
but
KL
let's
will
give it to him. He
return.
has been injured and he's been making
Exactly.
a time comeback after a long time. So let's give him some slack, cut him some slack, Pranav. I know
Yeah,
it's fine.
I know he's a nice player, but I think what's worrying is, when he made his debut for India, you should see his backlift, how perfectly it was almost vertical, and he had a good technique, but it's coming at such an angle. This was pointed out in the last Australia trip, and again, the way he gets squared up and both ways he got out, that's worrying. Otherwise, if he can just sort that out, Mayank will be a good option, either as a first choice opener or even as a backup
Backup.
opener. I mean, he needs to get that backlift sorted out. Otherwise, he'll just be, giving catching practice in the slips.
Yeah. So
But he
so
deserves a chance given Pujara and Rahane are on such a long rope. So,
yeah. So but currently Rohit is not there, so I think we will stick with the same opening pair of Gill and
yeah, we should
Mayank,
not
and
change that.
and we should back them as well. So coming to another interesting topic is um Riddhiman Shah showed some courage in the second innings, but KS Bharat kept pretty good, and he was pretty impressive in both the innings of keeping. So once looking at how Shah has been in Test cricket, I like he has been good keeping wise, but with the batting he has been pretty mediocre. He did score a good half century, but I just felt that he could have accelerated that inning a little bit in the last 30-35 minutes of yesterday, day four. But that's another debate, and let's not go to that. But do you potentially see KS Bharat to replace Shah and become a second choice keeper? Because I think that's the way going forward, because Sai is already done his past, and I think we should start backing new players and building the team around new players. So do you think, how good was KS Bharat with his wicket keeping skill? I have not seen him bat much, but what do you think? Is he a perfect replacement for Saha? Looking at our second choice keeper, because Pant is obviously going to be the first choice. So what do you make out of KS Bharat?
Oh yes.
Yeah, he's.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, go
sure.
ahead.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah, no problem. So yeah, Bharat's keeping skills were like excellent, just to say the least, because the pitch was staying low, and when it stays low, it's the most difficult for a wicket keeper. And he has taken like at least 90% of the chances that came his way, 90% of the balls, not even the chances. He almost took all chances. I don't remember him dropping a catch or anything,
And
except
the
one stumping.
unplayable stumping / inside edge from
Exactly.
Taylor. He was really good. I mean,
Exactly. So yes, KS Bharat is a perfect replacement for Wriddhiman Saha, and I think Wriddhiman Saha is well past his prime as well now and is very much injury prone. And even in the second test match, I think KS Bharat is going to replace him
Yeah,
based
because
on this
he has a neck
mental
injury, I believe.
neck injury. Yeah, so we'll see his
I
batting
think
that time.
KS Bharat is someone I had been looking to play in the Indian team right when the talks of who after Dhoni, because Rishabh Pant is someone who came out suddenly, and initially he was thought of as a lower order, sorry, shorter format player, and KS Bharat is someone who he's the only wicketkeeper to score a triple hundred in Ranji Trophy, so he is a capable batsman, and he's not a lower order batsman. I think he's a top order batsman almost, if I'm not mistaken. So I actually thought he should have played this game anyway. This is ridiculous that you gave Saha a chance just because he's played
He was
before, and
higher in
this
the pecking
guy.
order. He was higher in the pecking order. That's the
Yeah, I mean, but you should have looked for somebody who can give Pant competition. Saha is not competition to Pant. His batting, even this game, yeah, I
Saha is
give
not
let
even competition to MS Dhoni, I believe
right,
now. Like, who has retired long back.
right. Let's give him credit for fighting it out there with a stiff neck, and I give him full credit for that. But I think his innings in the end was a little bit selfish because he really slowed down incredibly and did not accelerate enough. That was my concern. But okay, let's give him some credit that he had a stiff neck and he adjusted his technique to come in bat, and he even came out to try and keep. But yeah, that was impossible. If you have a stiff neck, keeping is then absolutely out of the question. So let's just give him credit for showing guts, which is something we should not all of us may have done. So credit for that at
Yeah,
least.
no, but I think see in this whole test match, we haven't seen a session where more than 4 runs per over were scored, right? So I don't think we should be too
Uh,
harsh on Saha for not being
First
able to
day,
accelerate.
third session. Day one, third session, India were going at 4
but
over.
then this is something which is
Yeah,
according to situation. Like,
right.
once you, because once you know that all 4 days before were stopped earlier due to bad light, and you always knew that
Exactly.
we were having
Yeah,
less
exactly.
five
That's the point.
seven six overs even before the cutoff time because of the bad light in Kanpur. So I think that motive we should have gone, because we had Akshar, and then we had 2 3 wickets also.
Umesh,
Even
we
if
had
we,
Umesh
yeah,
next.
even if we had scored 10 20 runs in like 30 balls also, even in 5 overs, I think that could have been the difference. Because I think if
Yeah.
we had 2 or 3 overs, I'm 100% sure that we would have gotten that last wicket. But what has happened has happened. It's
I also
unfortunate.
think maybe suppose India, like you said, had gotten all out and we had a lead of 240, 250. New Zealand may have gone for the total a little more, and when you go for a total, you also risk losing wickets, and that would have also been like people are saying, "Oh,
But I
you
never
all are
thought
so-"
that New
yeah,
Zealand had the
yeah,
intention of chasing the total.
at no time, moment you could see from New Zealand's bowling itself, they were deflated, and I don't think at any stage they gave it a thought. They were first trying to, ensure that they don't lose, which is okay. Away from home, I always believe the away team should not lose the first game at least. So you can't afford New Zealand's approach. As much as Sunil Gavaskar was, getting on
Virat
them.
Kohli says hi, and then we come back.
Virat Kohli. Yeah.
Yeah, Virat
We need
Kohli
to
doesn't
chill.
believe in draws, but I completely do not blame New Zealand for what they did. You know, they if they lost, then there was 2-0 definitely gonna happen. So now 0-0 last game, it's anyone's game. Though again, India are heavy favorites to win.
Yeah, let's hope that Mumbai wicket is a rank turner and we don't get to
Yep,
see players like
Let's
absolutely.
players
No,
like
let's hope
Summer
so.
Slam, Sommer will get 80 balls again.
We should play
Let's
three spinners, drop Ishant, and get in an extra batsman. That's another way in which Rahane can be accommodated along with Shreyas Iyer. I think
Uh,
that's one option we can look for.
yeah,
There's one
but
more thing here.
yeah.
See, we have done it in Australia. First, we've drawn the test match in SCG and one in Kappa. So let's just hope that doesn't repeat with New Zealand, where they drew in Kanpur and
If
win in
if
Mumbai.
if if New Zealand does win, I think Rahul Dravid should have his resignation letter ready after the first
Lots
series
of
itself.
lots of heads should roll then. I mean, given that series is, I would not be. See, the thing is, Mumbai being red soil, like I said, if you make a square turner, 2004 Australia pitch, everyone remembers 3-day test match. So there's no doubt if the pitch is going to turn, it's going to be an absolute, and of course, the whole cricketing world will go mad and say how India makes bad pitches and whatnot, which is something we can
But
always laugh at.
I'm pretty excited that after a long time Mumbai is getting to host the test match. The crowd has always been great in
Only
Mumbai.
25% crowd.
Now it's
So
But
only
the sad part is only
25%.
25%. But I think the North Stand gang will be there. Obviously,
yes,
the North Stand, and they have been
I have met
very
them.
very
So
vocal. Yeah, and they have been very very vocal as well in the past, and they've been very supportive of the team. And I think that is the culture that we need to make. And I think I agree to Virat Kohli of having test matches in 5 big cities where you pull crowd.
absolutely.
You can have the fans like they do in England, like they do in Australia. They have fixed 5 venues for all the test matches, because I think that is the time we had a good crowd in Kanpur, but that was not an engaging crowd, I would say. Like, crowd was there, but cities like Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi
Yeah.
have more
The
engaging
test
crowd.
matches should stay at the metros, and the tier 2 and onward should all get ODIs and
Yeah,
T20s, because they are more, if you see even all the T20 ODI games in these cities, they're always full crowd. But test match, you don't see in the smaller centers much this. But the thing is, Kanpur, India has not lost since 1985. So it's something BCCI obviously will like to keep. But
yep.
anyway,
So
I
yeah,
agree with you on that point.
so last question. Like, what was your favorite moment of the test match? Like, let's start with Pranav. Just one moment,
Yes,
quickly.
one moment. It has to be Shreyas Iyer's debut 100, man. That moment is, I mean, anyone who gets 100 on debut, that always will stand out for me. I mean, I wanted to say Saudi's well, but Saudi has proven himself before, even in the subcontinent. So Shreyas Iyer on debut in a difficult situation, that for me has to stand out. Little bit of bias, of course, Mumbai guys.
Let's go with Ishwar.
Yeah, my favorite moment is undoubtedly when Ashwin picked up Will Young in the first innings. When the going seemed difficult, that is what started New Zealand's collapse. And other than that, obviously, it was a memorable test match for him. So yeah, it was a
But
good match for me too.
for me, the most memorable moment of the match was that uncle eating pan
Oh yes,
masala.
yes, yes.
The uncle
Oh
eating pan
no,
masala and that
the
girl
typical
staring,
you.
and he
Sister.
and he became a internet star.
Oh my
Like, that
goodness.
was the moment of the match. Like, if you tell me after 10 years, what do you remember from Kanpur test? First, I would say
The
maybe
gutka eating.
Shreyas Iyer 100, and the second one was that uncle. So thank you,
Oh
uncle,
goodness.
whoever he is, for giving us those special moments, like iconic, one of the most iconic photos, and like just how we had in during the World Cup, that Pakistani guy, and then we had a few of those. I think that will go down as top 5 iconic photos in stands, because that was pretty good. But
I
yeah,
mean, the cameraman got it perfect with the
yeah, even
expression
in
of
the yeah that, like, I think cameraman only gets it when girls are coming, or like during the
yeah.
such times. So hats off to the cameraman. But it's good to see test cricket back at home. There was a good crowd. Wish we had won it, but nothing is lost. We are still second in the World Test Championship cycle, and we have played 5 test matches already. But let's see what's going to happen. I hope we thrash New Zealand in the second test, because I've been tired of losing to New Zealand in
Absolutely.
ICC tournaments.
Come on.
अभी तो
Come
जीते
on,
भाई, अभी तो जीते
Sudhir
T20.
Nayak, come on. Show
No,
your true
T20 is
Mumbaikar
fine. That was
skills.
petty. No, this is a part of ICC World Test Championship.
Yeah,
Because
I
when
think
that
Virat should be
This is
calling
also
Sudhir
Paytm
Nayak, the
only,
curator,
but just
and
a part of.
telling him that I don't like how Imran Khan told the curator back in the 89 series of when Sachin debuted that अगर तुमने घास नहीं रखी तो मैं तुम्हारी गर्दन उखाड़ दूंगा. He was threatening him. If I see anything apart from just exploding dust, you will
मैं
not
तो
be a
बोलता हूँ
pitch
पूरा
bowler.
पूरा सैंड पिट बना दो, इतना घूमना चाहिए
Yes.
पहले बॉल से ही.
अरे
Let's
but
show
this
them
is
what
also
home
पेटीएम
condition
सीरीज
is.
only भाई. ये भी पेटीएम है but
हाँ,
आईसीसी
बट
tagged है.
आईसीसी का टैग्ड है ना, बस वही वही आईसीसी का
And India
टैग
should play
क्योंकि
4 spinners. Let's get a
हाँ
4th spinner for the match.
Who
Only
is it?
spin like that.
Jayant Yadav.
हाँ
Jayant
get
Yadav.
Yeah, Jayant Yadav. Perfect. Two
but
off spinners, two left arm spinners.
but that is pretty good, like good discussion. And let's hope I see, let's hope that Rahane gets benched and Iyer does not get benched if Virat Kohli returns,
Yeah.
because it will be very very harsh on a guy who has scored over 165
Man of the
in the
match.
second innings and got the man of the match to sit out in his home stadium, because that is something like every cricketer dreams of.
Right.
So I feel that it's time for Rahane to say goodbye.
No
Thanks
more
for the
bahane, please. Please.
thanks for the memories. But let's see,
I
let's
don't
see.
say that man. I don't say that. रहाने हो सकता है फिर से जाके करेगा.
Hey, but you know what? On a bright side, if Shreyas Iyer does get dropped, he can go into trivia as being perhaps one of the only people to be dropped after man of the match performance on a debut. So
Yeah, but I think big pressure on Rahul Dravid to win the next match, because he cannot. There's no excuse to do the home series against a side who is not comfortable with the spinners and who are fairly bad in the Asia region as well. Like they
so
got thrashed everywhere they have played. So so I do hope that we do win the series. Unfortunately, we couldn't win the test match, but that was pretty much it. Great discussion, guys. So I request everyone to thank Ishwar. He has taken out his time and given better analysis than Sanjay Manjrekar, and also VVS Lakshman about how to spin the ball. So if anyone is a newbie and wants to learn how to spin the ball, you know who to contact.
yes, Ishwar Aditya.
Yeah, so that's it, guys. And tomorrow is also IPL retention, so we will have our reactions on the retentions once we have the final list. So see you guys on the another episode. Hopefully it's IPL retention and we give
24
our
to
thoughts.
go.
24 to go.
24 episode.
Let's
अमर
pray.
वरुण
Let's
चक्रवर्ती.
no, let's pray that Virat Kohli does not score a century in Mumbai Test, so we
अबे
can
Yeah,
have
but a
our
90. A 90 will do. A winning 90 will
yeah,
do.
I would take anything. It should be less than 3 days score. That's it.
Yes.
So take care, guys. Be safe, and see you guys in the next
Thank you,
episode.
guys.
Thank
See
you.
you guys.
Thank you
Thank
guys.
you.